watch and burn.
Hey everyone, so tonight I want to discuss Body Count's second album, and this is Born Dead. This motherfucker came out, I think, around 94 or so. I know that I got it right when it came out. I can't remember if I was in grade 9 or grade 10. I got it with my girlfriend at the time. That was amazing. It was a whole different world. It's so wild to think how much things have changed since then. But nonetheless, oh my God, I've got Abigail Barlow's Future X like stuck in my head because I'm currently in love with that song. I hope I meet another future ex. I hope I love him, but he always loves... Sorry. Talking about Body Count. Anyways, yeah, seriously though, Abigail Barlow's fucking Future X kicks ass. Check it out. Doesn't matter. Yeah, so their first record had made a massive impact on me because the record was just so rough. Like, it was just so fucking punk, even though technically it was metal. It was just so, like, fuck you. Like, the whole record was one big fuck you to every aspect of society. And being a totally badass kid in grade 6... and having already gotten into Cannibal Corpse and Morbid Angel, like right around the same time, finding something that had more of like a street sensibility to it, because like where I grew up in Scarborough, a lot of the things that Body Count would be addressing were things that I had to deal with there when I was a kid, especially the chorus from Necessary Evil, which is, if I'm not mistaken, the second track off this record, Born Dead. You know, growing up where I did, I could relate to this better, even though I was a little kid, so I wasn't too involved in any of the criminality that was going on where I grew up in Scarborough. I was still very much in the middle of it, because where I grew up, occasionally there'd be the odd gunfight. And fortunately, or unfortunately, the area of Scarborough that I lived in would just continue to get consistently worse and worse. And I think as of right now in 2023, I don't think it's any better. I grew up in, for anybody that cares, I know you're all Americans, so you don't, but I grew up at Kingston Road in Galloway in Scarborough. So if you know the area, you know it's never been the best. And it certainly wasn't back then any more than, like I said, I'm sure it is now. But it sort of gave me like a more insight into where the guys in the band were coming from. Like, you know, it just felt like I could relate more because of like my sort of like shared social experiences. And where I grew up was rough. And like, I remember going over to my buddy Omar's house when I was a kid, and like his building smelled like urine. And there was always like some bunch of scuzzy dudes like passed out in the hallways and shit. Like, has anybody seen Candyman? Well, you know how Cabrini Green looked? Except the building where my buddy Omar lived, I think it was on Lawrence, it wasn't that graffitied up, and it wasn't that lawless, but at the same time, it was fucking close enough, because that place was one giant fucking sketch fest. Like, every time I went over to Omar's house, it was like there was always some new catastrophe to see in his hallway, or, you know, in the front lobby of the building or whatever. It was just, I remember this one time they were evicting this old woman, and I went over to his place to hang out, and I got off the elevator, and she was crying, and the police were there, and she was like, please don't do this, please don't do this. And like they had any choice, right? Like, the cops are just there to escort her out. And I remember I said, like, I got over, I was like, yo, Omar. Of course, I wasn't this slick, but I was like, hey, Omar, you know, what's going on? And his mom was like, oh, you know, she's being evicted. And I remember I said, why? And his mom looked at me, and she was like, she was like, because she's black. And it's like one of my earliest memories. But anyways, fuck, I keep getting off base. But nonetheless, the lyrical content was always something that I could really relate to on this record. I found that I didn't really feel that way about their first record. Their first record was too all over the place, but I found that the overall tone and the sort of the more narrative-driven direction of the second album was something that I could relate to more in a social sense. But this record just fucking badass. Drive-By's on here, Necessary Evil's on here, fucking... The Killin Floor is on here, right? Oh, fuck's sakes, now I can't remember. A really badass cover of Hey Joe is on here. I think what I liked most about this record was that it felt like this was the next step for Body Count. I'd worried a bit with their first one. I'd wondered if it was sort of a one-off, but given how much they had developed as a band, their first record is so raw and punk, and this record is, I don't know, the production is cleaner, and it just seems to have more of like a more traditional metal direction. And it seems like this band was just going to just continue to fucking annihilate, because, I mean, to this day, as of, what is this, March 2023, I still listen to fucking Necessary Evil and fucking Drive By, like, all the time. Especially Necessary Evil. I just fucking love the chorus of that song so much. And so I liked how I was able to tap in to this record more on a personal level. And it really helped me connect better with the album, which is probably a big reason why here in 2023, I can still discuss this record with as much energy and as much positivity and have such good memories, you know, like with all the great memories that I have, because it stayed so relevant for me because of the way I grew up. And I've always sort of tied Born Dead into my childhood. And I think that's the way it's probably always going to be, even though technically this record, of course, didn't exist when I was a child. Still fucking badass. But yeah, so look, I am going to go. So thank you so much for hanging out with me. The 2 Body Count reviews I did are so all over the place. I apologize. But nonetheless, thank you so much for hanging out with me while I discussed Body Count's fucking badass second album, and that is Born Dead. Like always, if you like this review, don't forget to do something nice for somebody. But most importantly, please don't forget that the world is a better place because you are in it. And yeah, sorry for going off all half-cocked and off base and shit. Have a good night. I just wanted to say thank you for making it through the entire video. I really appreciate it. And I'm going to remind everyone one more time, even though I've probably already done this in the video that you just watched, to please click the like button as well as the subscribe button because it helps this channel grow. And thank you for hitting like and subscribe. And we will see you guys really soon.